Huge news from the Supreme Court, which has agreed to consider same-sex marriage nationally and whether the Constitution trumps the decisions that individual states might make and that some states have made about same-sex marriage. This is a great thing, Lewis. I am weekly almost stunned at how quickly we are progressing when it comes to same-sex marriage. The bigots are going to lose. They're going to be looked back at the same way those who opposed racial integration in the military and interracial marriage are looked back at today. And we will see what the Supreme Court ultimately says. This is going to be a process over several months. There will be arguments from either side. And eventually, maybe in June, the Supreme Court will issue some kind of decision here. And we will see to what extent they issue a significant decision, in the sense that they could choose to issue an opinion that may leave it up to the states. So you could have an opinion that does not drastically change the circumstances, the status quo, but we could see a ruling, a decision from the Supreme Court that says, no, states cannot just say that same-sex marriage is against the law any longer. And remember that over 35 states already have same-sex marriage or civil unions in some way, shape, or form, that 70% of the population of this country lives in a state that has same-sex marriage. This is happening quickly, Lewis, and to be perfectly honest, we couldn't get this over with too soon because there are bigger issues to move on and focus on.
There are plenty of states that are hoping that the Supreme Court will leave it to the states to decide. Ultimately, you're going to see the majority of states having legal gay marriage anyway. So I don't see how this is going to be an important decision.
Well, I think that the way in which this would be huge is if the Supreme Court says, look at what has happened in the states that have enacted legal same-sex marriage. Nothing negative has happened. Look at the strong case that has been made that same-sex couples are not equally protected by states being able to keep gay marriage illegal. We are saying gay marriage must be legal nationwide, and that would be a huge decision. And you know that all of the groups, the AFA, the FRC, all of these groups will go absolutely berserk about tyrannical government and the activist judges. And we won't care, Lewis, because it might actually let us move on and focus on issues that really matter, because two dudes getting married is not an issue that any of us should be worried about. If they love each other, they should be able to get married.
And I think regardless of what happens here, we're going to have equality across the board in at some point in the not too distant future, no matter what. But of course, this would be interesting to see.
And by the way, even if they don't love each other, they should still be able to get married, because opposite sex couples that don't love each other are still able to get married. So why should it be any different?